created to have some fun together, sharing and singing. So, join and enjoy.
Our love for opera brings us together. Thanks for being with us in this trip.
So let me tell you a little about this episode that we are about to start, and that I know that many people it's going to be very upset at me for what we will be sharing. Um, at this by now, you know that we have already aired the first aria of the Queen of the Night. You have heard our comments, and we already have the other area that everybody is expecting, the Holy Racht. It's already available, but it has not been aired. You know that we have a limited quota monthly, and we try to share with you a variety of seasons and episodes so that it doesn't end up being that monotonous. So it will still take a few episodes before you can hear our hours in regards to the second very well-known area of the Queen of the Night. But in between, as I always share comments with Katya, and before I forget, as you can hear, I am still not fine. I am still sick, and it's been already already 3 weeks that I got sick, and I still haven't full recovered. So I want to apologize if the voice is a little worse than usual and with more interruptions than in previous programs. But well, I was telling you, Katya and I exchanged some comments, and so I also give lots of thinking on what the content of the episodes will be. As soon as we decide what is going to be the topic or the content or the area, I start thinking about it. And so, with those thoughts in mind, is that I started having this conversation with DeepSeek, the artificial intelligence. I don't use ChatGPT any longer. I like a lot more the reasoning and the way you can have DeepSeek correct its own mistakes. So we started this conversation on the Magic Flute and the common understanding of the opera, which is what we are going to be challenging today. So today's episode is about challenging what you know or what you think you know or what you think the actual opera is about. And so the conversation started, of course, it couldn't start anywhere else than talking about the two antagonists, the ones whose conflict drives the opera. Of course, we are referring to Sarastro and the Queen of the Night. Of course, we haven't mentioned that this opera comes from our dear Maestro Mozart. Of course, we all know it comes from Maestro Mozart, but let me mention it openly. And so Maestro Mozart composes this opera based on two main characters whose nature contradicts each other. In one hand, the light and the knowledge, so to speak, in the figure of Sarastro, and the Queen of the Night being the opposite darkness, emotions, vengeance. And so we start with what Maestro Mozart painted as two clearly opposites, and that's where I started challenging uh, the psych. Remember, maybe not everybody knows, but there is a common misunderstanding that artificial intelligences know everything. You can ask them about anything, and they will come up with a solution as if they really could know about everything, and that's not what AIs are about. AIs learn what you tell them, so if you feed them with 100 books, they will be ready to quote and work with the information of those 100 books, and maybe sometimes go a little further, depending on how much it has learned. But it cannot create what it has learned. So that's why the data sets that you provide to AIs are so important. And that's why it's important, and you will hear me saying it often. If you provide trash to an artificial intelligence, trash is what you are going to get. So, what does the artificial intelligence know or interprets of the magic flute? Well, it it provides information and understanding based on the 100 books it learned. And what's the problem with that? Well, the problem with that is that that information can be clearly biased, as we are about to see. It may be full, or it is many times full of prejudices, machism, misogyny, and all that stuff. So why am I mentioning that now? Once, because I want to put it out very clearly, artificial intelligence do not know everything. They know what we teach them. And if you teach them trash, trash is what you are going to get. And that's what happens here. And we can ask, why did Maestro Mozart chose to give light and virtue to the man, Sarastro, and darkness and all the negative parts to a woman? Essentially, you can say, well, the AI is not giving you trash because that's what Maestro Mozart actually composed. And that is true. But we have to take as a point of departure that the picture in black and white, where white is Sarastro and the Queen of the Night is black, is something we have lived to accept for as many years as you have known, as you have learned about the magic flute. So if you have learned about the magic flute for 15 years, then you think, oh, it's just a fight between good and devil, where good is Sarastro and where devil is the queen of the night. And we are also very happy that the light defeats the darkness. And that's the most childish interpretation we can have around the queen of the night. Of course, and we are going to make reference to that because people say, but remember that this is the road to enlightenment because it has to do with the Freemasonry and the such, blah 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 blah. No matter what walk of initiation is, the truth is that it chose to paint women as the archetype of negative and men as the archetype of light and positive. With all the things that we have changed so far, it is incredible that in this 21st century, people are still believing that such things can be true. Of course, we can always say that, yeah, this composition was in the early 1800s, and that's why Maestro Mozart did it that way. But wait a second, because this is going to get very interesting. So we have established that the magic flute is a conflict between darkness and light, where finally at the end the light vanquishes darkness. Yeah, and we are also very happy about it. But I would like to invite you to reflect on something. And we haven't been very open in the two episodes of The Queen of the Night with Katia, but now we are going to be very explicit. Why is the Queen of the Night upset? Why is she claiming vengeance? She just woke up in a bad mood? She just felt nasty and said, I am going to make the life miserable of people today just because? Or is there a justification for that? And Maestro Mozart, keep this in mind. Maestro Mozart gave the Queen of the Night, the symbol of darkness, the most horrible entity in the whole opera, at least that's how it is as she's painted. She gave her two of the most amazing arias ever written. That, to say the least, appears to be contradictory, but because we are supposed to hate, to dislike the Queen of the Night. But after the very impressive things she does, nobody forgets the Queen of the Night, and not even worse, at least from the moral or ethical perspective, nobody hates her for what she's planning to do. But why is that? How come that Maestro Mozart, who was a perfectionist till the last note, chose to give the Queen of the Night two of the most memorable and incredible arias ever written if we are expected to hate her? Maybe you will see also ahead why. Maybe he really wasn't planning for us to hate her. What he was planning for us to do is to like her. But since he couldn't do it based on the plot, on the libretto, he had to do it through music. I know many people will hate me for what I'm going to say, but people forget the aria of Sarastro. People forget the participation of Sarastro. Or they just say, ah, yeah, he's the old man who sings for around a number of minutes and nothing really happens. It's very static, it's slow. But the Queen of the Night, in her arrival, and the Queen of the Night, as we are approaching the end, is the Queen of the Night. Everything stops. If we are supposed to hate her, why giving her such importance? And you may say, it's because it's important to the libretto. Then, why did Maestro Mozart, the perfectionist, gave Sarastro music that we can easily forget? Nobody's fighting over now on stage to sing Sarastro's aria, but we have thousands of people who love opera and singers who want to sing the Queen of the Night. And I insist, it seems to be, at least to open the conversation, it appears to be contradictory, but we have already said. Maestro Mozart already gave us a justification. The, the daughter, the Queen of the Night's daughter, Pamina, has been kidnapped. Ask yourselves, how would you be if your daughter was kidnapped? You'd be happy and you'd be say, okay, take her away. I know it's for her good. No, nothing happens. Of course not. When you love your children, you do whatever it takes to get them back. And Maestro Mozart knew it. So for us to not to be misguided that the Queen of the Night is evil and is bad, the Queen of the Night has a justification. There is a clear motivation for her to want to go after Sarastro. Because Sarastro, only because he chose to do it, Sarastro is nothing to Pamina. He chooses to kidnap her from her mother. So he positions Sarastro, positions himself with this immense, huge ego that we will be discussing still, with this immense ego where he says what is good and what is wrong, he chooses to take a daughter away from a mother. And he expects nothing to happen. He just expects to get away with it. And if the Queen of the Night tries to get her daughter back, he is going to get rid of the mother as well. How good are you supposed to be to impose one? You determine that the mother of someone is not a good mother. So you decide to kidnap the daughter because you think that she is not a good mother, but it's nothing but your impression. Because nothing points in the direction that the Queen of the Night was a bad mother. Pamina is a good girl. If she was on the path of evil, it doesn't seem to be like that. Pamina respects her mother. Pamina misses her mother. And you can say, oh, that's because she didn't understand the evil of the Queen of the Night and blah, 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 blah. That could be to put oneself on the side of Sarastro very easily, instead of questioning the true motives of Sarastro. And Sarastro is doing it basically because he is an egocentric man, because he thinks and he likes to think that he has the power to impose his thoughts and ideas on whoever he needs to, because he already has had the Queen of the Knights be kidnapped because he thinks Pamina is going to be better with him. But when Pamina is taken to Sarastros, Sarastro does not give her the opportunity of her to choose her true path. Sarastro just gives her, it's going to be like this, the route of the initiation, the walk to the light, or basically disappear. That doesn't seem like I am really giving you the opportunity. It's just that you are going to do what I am inviting you to do, or you're going to perish one way or another. If you consider it from that perspective, it doesn't really feel like a hero. I mean, you only kidnapped me because you think my mother is evil, but you're putting me between two roads for me to choose only from those two roads. I cannot build my own path. I cannot follow my own path. And why is that? Only because Sarastra chose that Pamina only has this or that. So not only has he kidnapped her, abducted her from her family, but also has given her only two choices, imposed two choices. And what kind of crap, what kind of trash do we get from the artificial intelligence? That it was not an abduction, it was an intervention. Where did the AI get this crap from? Of course, it got the crap from the 100 books that it read. So, if the common understanding of the magic flute is that the means, that the ends justify the means, we are discrediting the motherhood of the Queen of the Night just because it serves a purpose. It serves, by the way, the purpose of a man. That's intrinsically misogynic. That's misogynia. That's machism. And why is the AI comfortable answering that? It's because it has ingested crap. To say the least, when we analyze this with at least with our eyes of today, you could still say, well, but those were the days of Mozart, so Maestro Mozart agreed with that to that. And let me bring you back to comments that we have made in other episodes. Maestro Mozart was not only a genius musically speaking. Maestro Mozart more than once challenged the status quo. And I'm pretty sure that Maestro Mozart is challenging here again what is believed to be the right path. But he does not do it openly because there are dangers, there are authority figures, there's people of power, there's the masonry itself that could go and chase him after, challenge him, all of them openly. So, but Maestro Mozart has such a brilliant mind that gives us everything in the music. And so he says, the purposes of Sarastro seem to be light and blah 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 blah, but everybody will forget because you are not given a single part of music that will remain in the memory of anybody. But the injustice that has been made to the Queen of the Night will remain in the minds of everybody. Everybody remembers her claiming for vengeance and everything. But remember, she's claiming for vengeance because her daughter was taken from her. It is not an intervention, it is abduction. And so I question the AI, why did you use the word intervention when it is clearly an abduction? And that's when the AI reflects on that and says, hmm, maybe the user, so it is me, so maybe the user is right. Maybe the end doesn't justify the means, and me, the AI, has just put there out there that Sarastro is right only because he's a man and because he is the light. So with that in mind, he changes his initial position that, oh yeah, it's an intervention because he's white and he's light and he did good in taking the innocent Pamina away from the corrupted and dangerous queen of the night because the world is in black and white. That's what we are teaching the AI, and that's what we are teaching in the 100 books around the magic flute, that the world can be painted in black and white, and that is white, that is Sarastro, and that is black, the queen of the night. So, when I challenge his understanding, the artificial intelligence manages to see that I it might be because of the patriarchy. Maybe I am really, as the user says, me, maybe I am really justifying a kidnapping using a patriarchy that is everywhere along the magic flute. And of course, now we cannot say that the end justified the means, at least not now. And I'm pretty sure that Maestro Mozart didn't want it as well, because as I insist, the horrible monster takes the most amazing pieces of music ever written for the soprano voice. Why not giving her some darkness? Why not giving her horrible sounds but people can immediately be repelled by? He does the opposite. He gives her notes, and probably she's not fully 100% positive human, but she's not that evil. She's willing to go as far as necessary to rescue and get her daughter back. What's the evil in having your own daughter back? Know that you are showing her the wrong path. According to whom? Ah, according to Sarastro, once again. So every time you challenge something, you go back to the same source who is justifying everything he does in order to get away with it. But also, it is important now that we are challenging the understanding and that we have mentioned that at the end, Pamina, who was just a girl living with her mother, now faces leaving her mother forever, because that's what Sarastro is basically commanding her to do in that route, the walk of enlightenment. But she's never given the opportunity to be herself. But it is not only Pamina who has to suffer that. Tamino, who was expected to be the hero because he's going to help the Queen of the Night to get Pamina back. Pamino is also Tamino is also manipulated, and you can say, well, Pamino is manipulated first by the Queen of the Night, but remember that there is a justification for the purpose of the Queen of the Night. It's clear she's the mother. And so, what is wrong with supporting the mother? That the evil mind here, Sarastro, doesn't agree. So Sarastro not only contempt with abducting the daughter of the Queen of the Night, not only contempt with only giving two choices to Pamina, he is going to give only two choices to Tamino as well. So Mr. Sarastro, the greatest manipulator of everything here, the great mastermind behind the chessboard, decides the fate of everyone here. What are we talking about now then? If Sarastro is the authority that nobody questions, does that give him the right to take a mother's daughter? decide the future of Pamina, and also decide the future of Tamino, disguised as you have the choice of doing it or not doing it. But there is no openness to go and find your own way. So for people to buy this idea, this Manichaeism where everything is black or everything is light, Sarastro can never be questioned. Sarastro is always right in his purposes, and the Queen of the Night does not have the right to go and get her daughter back. And Pamina doesn't have the right, and Tamino doesn't have the right. So who has the right? The only one who has the right is Mr. Sarastro. And I insist, the great manipulator of all. So under all that crap of the initiation, the opportunity to reach the light and blah blah blah, what we really have here is the super ego of Mr. Sarastro guiding the life of everybody, where he chooses who has the right and who has the right to what and how. Is that really the picture of illumination, or what are we talking about? So I asked the AI, with all that we have been talking about, how would you describe it? And the AI described it very clearly. We are talking about authoritarianism. Sarastro is the perfect image of an authoritarian figure, maybe disguised with nice words and everything, but nobody questions him. And what really has happened to here is what he chooses the path of everybody to be. With that in mind, for Sarastro, for his ends and purposes, the Queen of the Night is just another figure on the chessboard. And Tamina and Pamino are two more on the chessboard because Sarastro does not debate. He declares what is good and what is right. So the illustration and the illumination here is nothing but a dogma because Sarastro's authority is unquestionable. With that in mind, it's not that I want to put you on the side of the Queen of the Night, but at least to question yourself on how have you considered in the past Sarastro. To wrap up, I asked the the AI if with all of that was Maestro Mozart not really questioning discreetly the principles of masonry? Because Sarastro, that's what he depicts. And so the AI replied that Sarastro, in fact, with all the material we have reviewed, in fact, is nothing but an authoritative figure that chooses the agenda of everybody, and where the illumination, the enlightenment, it's in fact a path to full obedience. Who now do we have that require full obedience? Well, full obedience is in what we call now dictatorship. The magic flute is not the fight between evil and light. It's an example of dictatorship.
You can follow our channel for the latest updates and more content. Opera will love singing, in just one word. Link in the description of the episode.